What's up, everybody? It's the Crown Priestess, and I'm here to do some channeled conversation for you guys. Um, I had some different messages come through this morning in meditation, so I want to get two out of the way really quickly because they're brief, but they are important for someone. For those of you who have children or watch children, or you're a teacher, because this can be anybody. I'm not getting it specific to parents, but anybody who is responsible for children at any time, whether you're an aunt, an uncle, a teacher, a nurse, whatever. There was a big message, and I saw like a flashing, like a warning sign to pay attention to these children, okay? Because there's something about hazardous material. Now, I don't know if that's like a substance or something that they can get sick from, or if this is physically like something that can hurt them. There can be like a loose wiring. I was getting like something about loose wiring, or I don't know what those things are called. You know, the cables outside that like are tied to the street, or something. Like one of them, maybe the ground is like eroding around this. It can snap, it can hurt. There's something about the children being next to something dangerous. Okay, so just be aware, get ahead of like anything. If you're like a teacher, or you work with kids in like a hospital or something, just be sure that you are aware of the surroundings, the environment in itself. There's something hazardous in the environment, and you're having to pay attention to these children because it is dangerous for them, especially around smaller children, or children like that are not yet, like, this is before preteen. I'm seeing small children, like maybe between 4 and 10 years old, something like that. All right, very young children. Just pay attention to them. So that was the first thing I wanted to get out the way. Also, the second is someone, if you are in some sort of battle, okay, whether it's legal or just like, what do they call that? Under the table. I don't know what the fuck, right? If you're in any type of battle with a company or some conglomerate, I don't know how big this company is. They were showing me really big institutions, like maybe you had like medical malpractice, or maybe like you're dealing with a landlord in like a big building, or something of that nature. Something with a big. It could even be a bank. It could even be as deep as like the IRS. I don't know. I don't. We don't play with those niggas. But anyway, moving forward. If you've been going through something with some corrupt ass entity like that, okay, you're getting compensated. You will receive compensation. There's a win in your favor. There's something settled here, and it is financial settlement. Like, it is material. Like, these people, whoever is representing this entity, they're going to offer you money, or they're going to give you money, or you're going to win money. Okay, I don't know if this is court. I don't know if this is like you got into an accident at somebody's restaurant and they just trying to like shut you up about it. Whatever it is, you will be compensated for it. Okay, all right, now I want to get into the real stuff. So the first thing I'm going to start with is the mentorship. Okay, so I was channeling, and I got these messages very vividly, very clearly, and I know that they were for me, because I have accidentally become a mentor to some people. It wasn't my intention, but I know that I'm walking in my purpose with it, so I'm just going along with it. That is not. Now, disclaimer, I am not just like mentoring people. Don't just start hopping in my DMs saying, oh yeah, teach me this or whatever. Or, I don't have anything. If this is something that Spirit wants me to do going forward as an actual like everyday thing, then I will come back to that, because I will have to sit and meditate on a whole new business layout for that, right? And be able to devote my time and all of that stuff. So I don't want to say that, but I am mentoring two, maybe three people, about to be three people, as of late. And so the mentorship, I know a lot of those messages were for me, but some of these are for me to share. So I what I was told was share my gifts responsibly. Okay, and now that is that goes without saying, but sometimes we need it reiterated, and I know that someone needs to hear this. share your gifts responsibly, okay? What happens is some of you, whether you have realized this yet or not, are just extremely, extremely powerful magicians, priests, priestess, witches, warlocks, pastors, whatever, prophets, whatever you want to call it, whatever your faith lies in, right? However you want to identify. What I always say, like how you spiritually identify is your business. But nonetheless, whatever you are very strong and very, very powerful. And you have abilities and gifts that were destined for you, right? You were born with these gifts, and these things may even be very effortless for you to put into practice, like all the time. You know, you do it all the time. And so you can be trying to show someone else, teach someone else, mentor someone else on how to do this and how to use these tricks and how to use these secrets, these divine secrets, because that's what they are. And Spirit is warning you, okay? This is a warning. This is a caution. There's caution signs behind this. To be very responsible with what you're sharing. You know, there is a big emphasis on discretion. Okay, you have to, because everybody's not ready. First of all, everybody's not ready to perform at the level that you are performing at, right? Obviously not if they're an apprentice, right? If this is an apprenticeship, they don't know what you know yet. They don't, and it's not to say that they don't have their own gifts and they're not born into strength and power, and divine stuff, but they may not know how to use it yet, or they're not at a level yet where Spirit is encouraging them to put this into practice. There's more that they need to learn. There's more that they need to understand. There's more that they need to be awakened to. And so you're being called to really use your discernment when it comes to what it is you're sharing and the level, like you have to be able, and I know that sounds like a lot, but it is, when you have a divine duty, you have great responsibility, okay? And so it is very important that you are assessing what level your apprentices are at, so that you are not oversharing, so that you are not giving them the remedies and the recipes to certain things, because not only are they not ready or not at a level, but some of them, and that goes to saying they're not ready, some of them are not going to use this appropriately. You don't want it's like, what I'm getting is like, it's so funny because my son is watching Aladdin right now. Fucking Disney. um I don't own copyrights to anything. But it's like the genie, how Aladdin, look at Aladdin with the lamp versus Jafar with the lamp. You understand? Now, Jafar was a very, very powerful man. He was a sorcerer and he knew what the fuck he was doing, but look at his intent. His intentions were not the best, right? For humanity. And so that is the message behind this, because you can be working with somebody who is very gifted, who is very, like, leveled up and powerful, and you can see that because you're powerful, so you can see it in them, like, damn, this person, they don't even know what they can do yet. But that's exactly why you need to be careful with the information you're sharing with them, and be careful with what it is you're teaching them, because they can very much fuck shit up. Whether it's intentionally to abuse this power or not, they can really mess things up, not in their lives only, but in the lives of others, and even in yours. Spirit will hold you accountable to some degree, because even though you're an individual and that, you had it, you knew better, that's what they're saying. Like, you have to be able to share your gifts responsibly. You have to be able to know when you have to hold certain information back, okay? And some secrets are just for you. That's the tea too. Like, we're all here to share and elevate, and we're always going to do that as spiritual beings and spiritual workers. But there's some stuff that we can't share. And I know that those of you who walk this path and are true to this, not new to this, like me, You know that. You know that you can't say everything. You can't tell everybody everything. You cannot give away all those divine gems, because it's up to spirit also who they allow to have certain wisdom, certain knowledge. Okay, the knowledge is not for everybody. That goes to that symbolism in the Bible. I'm not Christian, but it goes to that symbolism of the tree of knowledge. Like, there was a reason that God didn't want them to eat from that tree, and it's because as much as knowledge is power, it can be very dangerous and very, I mean, you know, I'm gonna just say that it can be very dangerous if it's not used appropriately. Okay, and that's what happens. That is exactly what happens, right? In the Bible is like, I told you not to eat that because it's not that I didn't want you to know. In time, God gave, again, I'm not Christian, but just the symbolism of the story. God gave them power, knowledge, like, right? He chose human as the guardian of this realm. And Adam named all the animals and all this other beauty, right, in the garden. But it's like, this is the task I gave you. And I told you not to do this one thing. And y'all did it anyway, right? So, and now look at you, like, oh, I'm naked. Who the fuck told you that? And this is why this is why you wasn't supposed to do that. This is why you wasn't supposed to know, because you were not ready to know. You were not at a level where you can comprehend this and, go about your day. Now you're worried. Now you're scared. Now you're fearful. Now you're, you know what I'm trying to say? So be very aware of this divine secrets, gifts, and things like that you're sharing, especially through, through mentorship, especially because when you are working one-on-one with someone, when somebody is looking to you as their leader, as their teacher, they are, excuse me, they are going to take everything you say as like key knowledge, right? Like, if we go to school, I go to college, I'm expecting my professor to teach me what's real. I came here to learn from you. You know this, and I'm going to trust that what you're saying is right and that I can go into the world with this. And so it's the same thing in a spiritual aspect, is the same thing as a parent, is the same thing as a boss. People look to you for the answers, and they're going to do quite literally everything you say. They're going to follow that. And you have to know that these people are at a level where they can execute this well, okay? So moving forward, that's that message. Moving forward, the next message that I got, and this was a good one, and I said this out loud. I said this out loud yesterday in conversation, and then this morning it came back up in my meditation, and it went deeper. And it's, don't let your scars cripple you, okay? What happens is with trauma, right? We carry trauma for so long that it becomes almost like a disease, okay? And I'm not saying that things are not hard, things were not as intense as you experience them, because they are. We go through, as people, we go through a lot of crazy ass shit, right? All the time, like throughout our entire lives from birth. Some of us are just born into a hard knock life, and we have to fight until God knows when to really come into a space where we are better, we are easier, we feel good, etc. And sometimes we never get there. Sometimes we have to come back several times before we can get there, right? But sometimes, right, and now the movie Couples Retreat is coming to my mind, and I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie, Couples Retreat, with Vince Vaughn and some other great people. But he has this shark attack in a part of the movie, right? And literally, he was scared to death. He's in the middle of the fucking ocean. There's sharks surrounding him. He's covered in blood. And he doesn't know what to do. He feels abandoned. His friends done swam away from him. They left him in the middle of this water. This is not regular life for him. He's not a surfer or a person who be in the water all the time. So he's really scared, genuinely scared, as anyone should be. But he gets out of this, and he literally has like a little ass scratch, like the tiniest scratch that doesn't even require a Band-Aid. That's how small the scratch was, right? Because the fucking salt water in the ocean probably cured most of this shit before he even got out of the water. But he makes it this big deal, right? He makes it this big ass deal, like, oh, I am a shark attack survivor and da 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 da, and it's comedy. But the point is, you just gotta scratch, right? It was a traumatizing experience. It's something you never want to go through again. It's something you can learn from, right? What did you learn from that? I ain't getting back in the fucking water, honestly. I don't have no business in there. I'm definitely not going to feed no fish with no big bucket of chum that's bleeding in the middle of open ocean. The lessons are instilled. The trauma was real, but I survived and I'm okay. This doesn't even require a lot of recovery outside of mental. So my point is, how do you turn something so small, or something that could have been so easily recovered from, into something that disables you? You understand? And so that's what Spirit meant when they said to me, don't let scars cripple you. Don't let scars become disease. Because they're just scars. And I may have the scars for the rest of my life, right? When I got all of this shit tatted on my body, it hurt. I sat through that pain, and I can still see the end result. But does it hurt anymore? No. Do I cry about, like, oh my God, that's how it took 15 hours. I was in so much pain. I was like passing out. I don't even talk about that shit anymore. You know what I mean? Because it's really not that deep. And again, I am not taking away or trying to deflect from intense trauma, because it's a real thing. But we have to work through that. You have to heal that through whatever, through your own fucking personal shit, whether you're going to see therapy, whether you're going to talk to a pastor, whether you talk to a friend, whether you talk to yourself. I don't care what you have to do to rehabilitate, but rehabilitate. If I break my leg tomorrow, is it wise for me to just sit there and talk about how I broke my leg and possibly have a limp for the rest of my life? Because it'll heal up. The bone will close, all that shit will happen, but it won't do it correctly because I didn't go to the doctor. I didn't get a cast. I didn't take medication. I didn't exercise. I didn't walk every day to try and fix. You know what I'm trying to say? You have to rehabilitate. When you get cut, what do? Immediately, you stop the bleeding. You hold it as long as you can. You go, you clean it up with alcohol, peroxide, triple antibiotics, whatever the fuck, ointment. You put a little Band-Aid on it. It might sting, it might hurt a little bit, but it's nothing. You may have the scar for the rest of your life, but it's not painful anymore. That's the point. Like, Spirit is asking you at this time, is this really even, is this still hurting you? And if it is still hurting you, what have you done to rehabilitate this? Because it shouldn't be weighing you down. It should not be spreading into other areas of your life, right? That's what happens. If I get a nasty cut on my leg and I don't fucking treat it, what happens? Gangrene. It spreads. I'm feverish. Now they gotta chop my leg off. When I could have fixed it. You know what I mean? Some things are out of our hands, but in a lot of cases, these are fixable. These are remedied things. You can remedy these traumas. You can remedy these things that we need to heal in our adult life, and in opposition to that, do not band-aid big wounds. You understand? Because that's another problem. That's another problem, is that some of you are, and I'm guilty of this in my past, not anymore. I'm elevated now, but I was guilty of this. Some of us would try to put a Band-Aid on something that required stitches. Or, we try to eat a spoonful of honey and a cup of tea when we are really like, we got the fucking flu, like, or, like the pneumonia is something, we need a little bit of assistance. We can't just, this is not one of those, ponte vexi ya. It's not one of those, sometimes you need the extra support, like, you can't, everybody cannot on their own all the time beat fucking COVID. Everybody can't beat, like these big, these hard sicknesses. And so that's why help was created. That is why medicine was created. Doctors are healers. They're not all great. Everybody has corruption and everything, even spiritual workers, okay? Everybody who has a divine gift, a divine purpose, does not use it well. Some people abuse their shit. But there are great doctors. There are great medicinal workers, right? That they know they have the remedy. And I know that because I've come across good doctors. I've come across like doctors that will rather tell you the natural thing you can do before they even write a prescription because they know, like, actually, it's not even about money. This will work for you. And you do this and it works. And it's like, oh shit. And I didn't have to pay a dime. You know, I didn't have to pay a dime to the pharmaceuticals. And I would never mention these doctors' names because I ain't trying to do all that. And I know how big pharma do it. Corrupt asses. I don't give a fuck. But moving forward, these things, a lot of these things were created for your help. And so when you need that help and you need that support, please seek it. Do not try to band-aid something that requires a cast, right? But at the same time, once you have done the work, once you have gotten the support, and once you have worked into rehabilitating yourself, let it go. Okay? Let it go, because a lot of you are being hindered by what you think is disease, by what you think is, is like terminal, by what you think is the end of the world. And really, if I take that fucking little sling off of you, your arm is fine. You can move, you can write, you can throw a ball. Like, it's really not that deep. And it's like, it's time for you to see that it's not that deep. And it's time for you to realize, like, I've been dragging this out way too long. And if it's like, what is insanity? Doing the same shit over and over and expecting a different result, right? So if you want something to change, if you want a different outcome, it is time to do things differently, okay? I'm gonna pull some advice for you out of the tarot, but that was pretty much the message that they gave me today, okay? And scars can be whatever you want them to be. Understand that, mentally, emotionally, physically, all right? Because for some of you, it may be physical, which goes back with that compensation tie. And somebody's dealing with medical malpractice and you're about to get a payout. But anyway, let's see what Spirit has in closing for the collective here after those messages. Do the work. That's literally it. Change with the towel at the bottom. But do like real upheaval, like revelation change, whether you like it or not. But do the work. Do the work. It might take time. It might feel like I'm tired of going through this. I'm tired of fighting. I'm like, I want to give up. But don't give up. Do the fucking work. Call a therapist. Go to church. Pray. Meditate. Go to rehab. Go to a motivational seminar. Listen to somebody, a life coach. Do something. But do the work. Start. Once you start somewhere, you got to start somewhere. Spirit will meet you. More than halfway, usually. I guarantee you. Even if you can only take yourself 20. Spirit knows, damn, he can only come 20. So I'm going to come 80. You understand? It does not have to be a half and half. Spirit is stronger than you are. It's another, you understand? It's another entity. They don't have this skin holding them back to feel like, oh my God. No, they can literally... They could do the whole 100, but they believe in you. So if all you could do is come 20, do that. And I promise you they will meet you the other 80. But please do the work, all right? I'm sending love, light, and abundance.